See, I'm half hour in. Okay, I was listening to every word you said. Does anyone want to speak to that? I mean, I do think trees are an issue sometimes, but that right of way is the right of way, and I understand that you were out with, do you?
Yeah. And I
So-
know it goes away and, basically I told them that, do what we can to save what trees we can. Said ultimately it's the town's right away and it'll be up to them, but, my plan is to go out Tuesday. I have it scheduled and we're gonna stake the heck out of those right of ways so that we can try and maybe identify some trees that are right on the edge and maybe they can be saved. Looking at the construction plans upward by Rick's property, it seems like we might be able to, like the grading limits are inside the right of way,
Okay.
so we might be able to save some. As you get further east, those huge cottonwoods are never in the ditch or too
Yeah.
deep in the shoulder. There's nothing to be done about those.
Anything else you wanted to say, Rick? I do want to,
Go.
huh?
I'm signing it.
Well, I do want to talk about this straight road and we will have our engineer speak to that
I
too.
would appreciate that. No, I appreciate the consideration of the town board and
Yeah.
taking my letter and my comments into consideration. That is much appreciated on our end as an adjacent land.
Yeah.
To a development and reconstruction. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that road is straight to begin with. We're
Correct.
extending it. So did you want to speak to what his concern was about meandering rather than?
Well, I think his point is well taken that a meandering road may have an impact on how people choose to drive the road. In this particular case, in order to meander the road, the developer, combination of entities would have to acquire, right of way in order to make that meander happen. You can't really, I mean, in a 66-foot right of way, you can't really meander the road. So you would have to truly take a new alignment in order to do that meandering. So that's what the town would have to consider in order to do that.
Anything else from anyone on the board on this? I mean, I'm pretty comfortable. We've done this before with our developers agreement that we've left it up to our engineer and our attorney to come to an understanding on it. I guess my only other question back to you is this price that he's quoting us on the construction of this road in line with what you would expect it to be?
So now that we have the numbers split out, we will have our project manager take a look at the costs. And we always look at the costs and make sure that they are within a reasonable realm of value so that the town will be covered by the letter of credit. It's rare, but a couple times in my career, I could see where on a bigger project, typically more urban project,
Okay.
A contractor has, weighted certain types of improvements heavier than others. Because maybe they get built first and they get their money first, but this isn't typically the case in the town. But we always like to double check and make sure that, the town will actually have enough money if they have to actually go to any of the project themselves. So.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? I'll make a motion that we conditionally approve this developers agreement with Steve Vader for 144th Avenue, conditional upon you getting done with the HOA documents, that the letter of credit is taken care of in insurance, and that the 144th split of costs between the town and the developer is approved by our engineer, Lee Mann, and that the developers agreement is approved by both Lee and Nick Vivian, our attorney, before it is filed, signed and filed. Second on that?
I'll second.
Any other things that anyone wants added to that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Right.
Opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Once again, you're on your way. Yes, oh, he's got his finger up though. Don't go too fast.
Just a comment that I'm sure that Doug is fully aware of and perhaps you are too, but nothing can start until that development contract is executed.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
thank you.
All right, on to the town hall building. I see Bruce is online with us. We're gonna go through a few things here right away. We have a pay request. Oh, here it is. So this pay request is for $86,424.35, and it has to do with, I presume, the construction to date.
That's correct.
Anyone have any questions on the pay request? I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 2 for the town hall building construction in the amount of $86,424.35.
Second.
Any other discussion from anyone? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that passes. And then we have update on furnishings. I don't have any update on furnishings for the town hall than what you have. I haven't had to have a second discussion with SOS on changes we've made because of all the furniture sitting up in that building.
Quick question.
Yes.
How does anyone get to that building?
Oh, that's on Public Works. You get to find that out shortly.
Oh, okay. Did Chris sign us up for a good deal?
Well,
Okay, thanks.
Chris and I have a difference of opinion. That's all I'm gonna say. Then on your, this is on your thing. So, Dan asked us to add an original estimate number on here. The numbers for the painting, et cetera, were not included. We knew they were gonna be in there, but we can't find the original number we had in there. But this at least gives you where we started, where we ended up. I don't have a finalized number from ASI on AV. We did discuss it at technology, and they want some changes made to it, so hopefully I can bring that back to you next time. A couple of things, Northwest connection for Wi-Fi. I thought that was in Tim Whiteside's lap, but it's not, it's in ours. We need to contact
It's
them.
now in mine,
Good, I'm
because
glad.
they called me Tuesday and they want to know when the base concrete will be poured so that they can come out and do a site survey. That's part of our
Well-
install.
The foundation is poured.
Okay, so that's one of the things, because I
Okay.
didn't go to I got a meeting cancellation for the Thursday mornings.
Yes,
But
it's poured. It's all, I mean, it's all.
so
up
they
there.
could come out and theoretically
Yeah.
do the site survey now.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
I'll call them tomorrow and schedule that to make sure that they can come out.
Okay,
And then we'll have them either likely just put conduit in and then flush the fiber down as we need to. And then
Yep.
the plan is still to have it connect up here at the corner
And
for
under.
this building.
yes.
So then this building
We'll
will
go to
connect to
there.
that one.
Yes,
And then we will just have one internet connection.
okay. Generator, do we know anything yet?
I put Berghammer in touch with the generator provider and we haven't had meetings to see how that's going.
Oh, so we weren't gonna go directly to them.
Oh, the generator provider needed electric amounts
I
and
gotcha.
all that
I
kind of
gotcha.
stuff, and I
I
wasn't
got you.
gonna
And then
answer
we'll get,
that.
and then we'll get a price.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Speaking,
And then Bruce,
Bruce?
wake up.
He's on there. He's not muted.
I'm here. Sorry.
So the entertaining part that I was gonna talk to you today about at our 8 o'clock meeting where you didn't bring donuts. When are we gonna bring in the safety part of fencing off this stuff so people aren't entertained with crawling over there and looking at stuff and do they put up any, do you feel this is safe enough?
I will have a conversation with Ron that, it's in our specifications that they need to secure the site to make sure that people don't get injured. And as long as there is open excavations there, it probably should be screened or barricaded in some manner to prevent folks from getting in there. So I will
So,
contact
uh,
Ron and get them to get that taken care of.
So the thing that I would have the most conversation is children on the east end buzzing over and looking at the excavating, so
Yep.
I feel
Right.
that definitely needs to be dealt with.
Okay, I
Okay.
will
Yep.
get an email off right now.
Anyone else have anything on?
I just wanted to ask, did we get an update for getting St. Croix Electric? The information for the things that we have planned?
Oh,
Have we got the form filled out? Have we contacted them about scheduling the service to get in?
do you know where you are on that, Bruce? Because remember, we needed some information for that form for the rebates.
Yeah, I will check. I thought I had already sent that back, but I probably didn't get that done when I went on vacation. So I will
Okay.
get that sent back shortly.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I want to make sure we get the HVAC that we picked in there, so we get the most of
Yeah.
that rebate.
Alrighty.
I would appreciate that. Anything else from anyone?
Or,
The building?
well, yeah, just so we're all on the same page, Bruce, could you tell us why for 3 weeks we're not having any work done in this building so that everybody can have the same story when we get asked?
You bet. And that's mainly my fault. I got the concrete test reports just before I went on vacation. I sent those to our structural engineer to review, and then I forgot to make sure that they were done before I left on vacation. And so I got contacted by Ron while I was on vacation, indicated that he was wondering where they were. I got them reviewed and sent back. And so now the project is delayed because Ron, while he was waiting for me to get the review back so they could get the concrete block ordered, had another project come up. And so they're finishing that project up and we'll be back starting on the 19th to lay block.
Yeah, because the block's been here for 2 weeks,
December.
Oh, okay.
which surprises me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So are there any other items like this that if paperwork is misplaced could delay work on the project going forward? Other than this concrete block paperwork?
Nope. As far as I know, everything else is in
Well, I
place. Other than I did get an email from, or copied an email from Todd that Ron hasn't applied for the building permit
Yeah.
yet. He's only got footings and foundation permits. So I will also check with Ron, find out where he's at with getting the building permit application filled out so they can be working above ground.
So
What's the price?
can they not lay brickwork until they have a building permit?
Right.
Nope. The current permit that they have is footings and foundations, so they can lay all the concrete block.
Or they can lay the block, but not above that.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
So it surprises me because he's had the sanitary permit for a week and a half.
Yep.
2 weeks. So I'm surprised he hasn't applied for that building permit.
Right.
And of course, he can start laying block without it, so I guess it's not important.
So
Yeah.
I would be very disappointed going forward that if there are any more delays on the project because paperwork was not completed in time. I think
Agreed.
that is a major error that occurred, and I don't want to see that happen again.
I will do my best to make sure that it does not happen again.
All right, anything else for Bruce on this building? All right, we will move on.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Any update on road connections? I left that on the agenda, but I don't know that you have anything.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as you recall, last time we handed out our potentially final draft of the roadmap for that westerly section of the town there. Phil, the planner, has been working with the state and the county to get some feedback.
Okay.
It's my understanding that the state is actually having a meeting amongst themselves to talk about it next week. So we're certainly hoping by the next meeting that we'll have some concrete feedback from those agencies. And, at that time, Phil would be present at the meeting, and if there is any feedback from the board members on that map, certainly, we need to make sure that anything of that nature is resolved before we can finalize and make that official.
Okay. Well, that's good that we're moving forward. Thank you. And then on to Church Street. Anything to update us on that? I put a pay
Yes.
request in, but I didn't know if you're gonna have one or not, so.
Well, we had hoped that we could have a pay request at this meeting, final. However, there is progress being made. As a matter of fact, they were actually out there the last couple of days, finishing up the work. There was a little bit of concrete work left and some restoration work in the ravine, which my understanding is they were working on today. So hopefully they finish that off today. Otherwise, I would imagine it would be finished tomorrow. There wasn't a lot. And once that's all done, then we can get the final pay request in front of the board and close that project out.
Fantastic. And get the rest of our money.
Get the rest of the money from the grant.
Yes. Anyone have any questions for him on that? We'll move on to Public Works. The road maintenance project. If any of you've come in on County Road E, you know what that looks like.
Well, let's save that part for the second part of the discussion.
Oh, the seal coating? Okay.
Yeah. So
Road
the spray patching and crack sealing has been completed this week. And so they are planning on doing the actual seal coating part of the project next week. So again, progress has been made on that, and they should be well within our completion date if they get that done next week. So the issue of the parking lot up by the maintenance building, the chair alerted me to the situation earlier today, and we contacted the contractor and told him that it's got to be fixed by tomorrow morning, that there needs to be space for the tractor to get out of the building and access the driveway. And they indicated that they will have a loader in here tomorrow to take care of that. So I know that it was communicated to them that access needed to be maintained, but apparently there was a lack of communication between internally with the contractor as far as what was needing to be happening up there. So
It's interesting to me, it's because the two semis that were in here today, I spoke to the driver personally and said, you need to leave that lane. And then I went to leave to go do early voting at Town of Hudson. I went, well, I guess they listened because there's no room left. So I don't know how that worked. And I guess in the future, we need to really discuss this better, because although the tractor's not here right at this moment, it's gonna come back. And how do we manage that? Why can't we do half of it and then bring the next half in the day they're doing it? Why did it have to be in here a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance?
I think what we have to do in the future at a minimum is give them a map and say, this is where the limits of where you can put your material. And if you
Okay.
have to bring it in 3 times, so be it. Or you can find another place. I mean, we don't have to give that parking lot as, a stockpile area. I mean,
Okay.
we do that to facilitate the project and hopefully help keep costs down. Because if they have to have another stockpile place, it's gonna cost more money. So every single year, it's a conundrum about using that area as a stockpile place. So I think we need to have a map. We may need to even stake it out.
That's fine, we can do that
And-
too.
Just say, this is where you can put it. This is what you got.
Because I look at this and say, if this is gonna rain for 2 weeks, that's gonna sit there for 2 weeks, and now where is that tractor gonna go?
And what is that material for exactly?
Seal coating.
That's the chip, the granite chips for the chip seal.
So how it got to this magnitude is me. And I'm very proud of it because I look at it as it's temporary. That's my managing style on it's temporary. They asked me, I said, pile it up there, great. I looked at it as a cost savings, knock down on trucking.
Absolutely.
We're always trying
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
so.
But-
And then, well, and, yeah, but here's how I look at it, it's temporary, the tractor ain't here. Next year, if the tractor is here, we'll have a different discussion.
Well,
And then back to the blacktop. I'm pretty proud of our blacktop. I didn't want the stuff on the blacktop because I know how operators aren't concerned with blacktop. So then we would enter a whole nother booger on the blacktop's marred up. What are we gonna do, contractor? So I avoided that.
Well, not
Yep.
quite, because there's a load on it because they couldn't get it all up there. Yeah,
I think that I don't have an issue with what they did per se of using the lot. I think that the issue is that, and my guess, the reason they did it is because once the chip seal got so high that it couldn't come out of the dump truck any further. So to me, what would have just been better is to have one operator there to pile it. And then they could have kept the lane open and had
You know what? That's a discussion we can
the
have.
6
too.
yards or whatever comes in on that tip trailer, because
They
it's
could-
not like it's
they
coming
could
off
make
of
a
a
nice win-win.
grain empty or. It's
or
just,
the semi,
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
tip semi, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason the piles stop at that height is because the
Right,
operators go to pull. They could have had someone here for 2-3 hours and piled it all up on one side, and then it wouldn't have even been a discussion. We'd
but the
just said,
driver that was here today says to me, well, I know you need to have the lane open, so I'm not gonna fill the lane up, and the next thing I see, it's all filled.
Probably more than one.
No,
driver.
there's a guy that says it's filling up.
Well, he
I think
probably,
there was a little bit of a lack of communication between Supervisor 4 and myself.
well,
You
maybe,
know,
well,
he
maybe
wasn't here
the,
talking to the driver at the time.
maybe the tractor could get a bucket for the front, because it's worked
Yeah.
so well so far. And then we'll just move it out of our way
Let's
next
get
year.
out of our way. Okay, well, for the future, let's be aware that this may be an issue in the future that we need to deal with next
Oh,
year.
I'll retain it.
Okay. Seal coating roads 3 years after install with monies from developers. Where are we on this? Because I couldn't remember.
Well, the minutes from the last meeting didn't indicate any particular actions or things to come back with.
But you weren't here last time. I think you were online.
Correct, and we did
Yes.
talk about, one of the things that the board had asked for is what would it cost to seal coat the roads that were done in the last major road project? And that was the $870,000 that we talked about.
Yeah.
And that was in the minutes.
Yep. So does the board want to go forward with this or not? Because I don't want to keep putting it on the agenda if you do not have an appetite for doing this.
I think it's kind of a double-edged thing to look at is if I'm around for public works and we gotta keep maintaining all these roads, which they're not gonna go away, I'm gonna continue to ask for more money to maintain the roads properly. With this program here, we would get some relief in the budget with additional roads coming into the town and being able to stay on top of it with new developments, right? Because let's say we get this in place in a year or two, developments come in and we're starting to acquire this funding, and then it's sitting there to support the new roads later. Yes, it adds to the development cost, but I'm being shrewd with it, ain't my problem, buy the lot.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, the number one thing we hear every time we go to any of the roadworks workshops is the sooner you start maintaining the road, longer the life cycle is on the road. We're not doing it today. And now everyone's picking up the bill for it instead of just pay a little bit into it every year. And then you stop getting just chewed alive for it later. You know, it's pay me now or pay me more later. But you will pay me in the end is kind of the way I look at it for roads. So
Would we have to change our chapter 149 to incorporate this? I presume you wouldn't put it in subdivision, you would put it in the road ordinance, correct?
I would, yep.
Do you want him to come back with some language? Because I
Yes.
presume you've seen this other places.
Correct, I think the main thing that we would need to know before we start drafting that is it is the town gonna share in that, or is it that first seal coat totally on the development? That was a discussion point.
The other piece of it too is that there was some good policy discussion at the time. And the reason that it is where it is because there was not a consensus.
Right.
Moving forward as to how the town board wanted to deal with this, whether the board was interested in seeing language or whether the board had kind of settled on leaving things at status quo just based on whether we place a responsibility on developers and how that factors into the whole thing. So, you know, I think ultimately the board should decide, or at least, you know, have some sort of a consensus that you want us to start working on some language. And then we should talk about what that language might incorporate so that we don't bring back something that's inconsistent with what you're thinking as a structure.
And then the other devil's advocate, which it doesn't bother me, and we're taking a minute here as a workshop to talk about it. Is if we implement that, how many developments are we gonna drive out of here?
Well, I think you figured up what the cost was on, whose was it? On Artisan Farm, wasn't
On
it?
a couple of them, one of them was like $1,500 a lot, another one was like 2,000 something a lot.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
minimal.
I
I
guess
do.
my math, luckily I'm not doing
What were you thinking, like?
10.
No,
Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
I
Oh,
can
fine.
look that up.
Now he's for sure in now.
Well, it just makes sense, cause you're
That's the
basically
difference in
buying a
good
security.
mailbox or a bad mailbox.
Yes, Doug,
It's hard to do it per lot, I think, because so.
well, the thing is, if you charge
don't-
a developer up front,
They'll fold it into a lot.
You charge them for length of road.
no, well, let's take Artisan Farm. That's all new road. So we would charge him for the whole road. And he would just divide that up on his lots, however he chooses to divide them.
That was my
He
math.
would put that cost. in
Yep,
selling
yep.
costs. Town's cost would be some cost, whatever, per linear foot of.
Right, and so
What you
Lee would
charge
figure,
developer.
Lee would figure that up
And my
and
next
then,
question would be, would that money go into some kind of interest bearing fund?
yes,
And
Yes.
then solely used for that. road?
yes,
Yeah,
we would have
So
we would have a
the
bank
developer can
account.
Look at it and
Yep.
go in 3 years, and, hey, they used.
Yeah, it has to,
Bastards.
yeah, my understanding is when we collect funds like that, we have to define the use.
And they go in a separate account.
Yeah, we can't just, you know, collect the money and then go, boy, I really love a new TV in here. It, you know, it has to go to where we stay.
So the town's portion to me would be the increase in the cost. Say we decide that we're going to seal coat all of these new roads at 2 or 3 years. Whatever that increase is over what the engineer estimated, and no one knows where oil's going to go,
Yeah,
so
true. I agree.
that would be on us.
Mhm.
And if for some reason the bottom dropped out of oil, I mean, we could put something in there that we would maybe refund the developer if we choose. Not that I want to, but if we choose. And not that that would happen, because I
Got
know
all
oil's
this
gonna go
language
down.
jotted down?
But he's got that all in his head.
And I'd be okay with us putting language together, but my sticking point is the town sharing, and I think that we should leave, you know, it should be a 50-50 share with the developer. I just don't like the idea of putting that much of an extra burden on developers. But I can see that it's something that would actually enhance the development also. That from a selling point, that they know that their road's gonna get cracked or sealed again in 3 years because of this, you know, but I think the town needs to share in it. The burden of putting everything on the developer, I think is not a good idea. So that's my
So-
input.
Can I just ask one clarifying question? Cause I don't know that anyone, I mean, I'm of no illusion that oil is only gonna go up, not down.
Right,
And so if we say 50%. And then we go up to 130 a barrel. Now, what the developer put away was only worth 30%
Yes.
of that cost. Now the town's on the hook for 70% that we didn't factor
I
for.
think what we have to do is come up with a formula based upon what we estimate any increases would be in 3 years, a reasonable, like, factor, you know what I mean, like 3 or 5% or something. And if we have to bear the burden of that, we do. They could go down too, costs could go down.
I've never in my life lived long enough to see the cost go that far down that it's a
Well,
metric
oil
value.
prices go up and down all the time. Oil is probably the most volatile price on the entire.
Isn't the town's cost sharing part kind of defeating the purpose
Yep,
Yes, I think it is.
Well,
to begin with?
yes.
that would be my, if we were strapped for development, we were looking for a new revenue, like new tax base. I just don't think we are at a risk of scaring people away. I think the developer will look at it as a cost of doing business that they're just gonna pass along to the end user. So
I don't mean to sound crude here, but most of the time I hear people come in here griping that they don't want a development, not that they want one. A
Well-
number of times I hear about people wanting less. We heard it tonight. I don't want neighbors, right? I don't know that we're at a cost, we're at a place where the additional cost of $1,200 that the developer is ultimately gonna push on that lot is gonna absolutely cripple those developments when you're seeing that the average home price is like over $500,000 in this township. I don't think that $12,000 to $2,000 is gonna be the make or break point.
I'm just providing my input. We're a 5-member board.
No,
I can vote whatever. we
I
want.
understand what you're saying. I just,
You know, that's my input.
And let's be clear, this is not an obligation that we're necessarily just forcing on developers. That the way you would do this in your ordinance would be to update your road standards, which would say for any new road that's constructed, that this will be a component that ultimately you're requiring that additional dollars be placed into escrow to take care of this first service. So I just, as you're framing the discussion, will it affect development, new developments? Most, yes, absolutely, because that's where your new roads come from. But as you think about how this integrates into your code, this is really about road standards and what you want to require of anybody that is building a new public road in your town.
But then, okay, so 8 years from now, when we borrow some more money to do another big round of roads.
Right.
Or whatever it is, you know, that right now, we're telling ourselves then that those new roads are gonna be subject to the same standard.
Unless you exempt yourself.
Well, okay, but that's kind of, that defeats the logic of the maintaining the roads, and just think of the cost that the town is gonna have to bear then 3 years after doing another $8 million worth of roads. I'm throwing it out there,
Well, we know that because we're dealing with that right now.
yeah,
Trying to
That
get
would
these
be-
roads done.
that was the estimate that we
Yep.
did last time.
that's. And
Oh,
we
I
don't have that kind of money, so I don't know.
And that was the principal argument the last time around. Our discussion point was you're creating the standard for new roads based on your engineer's recommendation that doing the work early prolongs the life of the road. But at the same time, if you've built the roads or, you know, for roads that have been around for a long time that haven't had maintenance, you're either creating a new obligation for yourselves or a standard, you know, or you're applying a different standard to existing roads than you are for new roads. So, you know, like I say, there was a lot of really good policy discussion the last time this came up. Which is why we're still kind of at the point that we are, that, I mean, there are some financial implications as to what you should expect from other roads that are not newly constructed, subject to this particular requirement. If you move forward with this type of an approach.
I think I see what Dan's point is. I think we're not looking at the other side of that coin, which is what does this get us on these new roads by maintaining them earlier? Right? Do we buy 2 years? Are we not risking 2 years into the budget of maybe we can push some of these new roads out? I don't know. I'm asked, but I'm saying that, you know, we've all seen the bell curve that they send us out from Wisconsin DOT every year. And they state basically, if you start maintaining it earlier, the curve has less of a
Yes.
dip. And then our maintenance cost goes down over time, right? So that's where I see the advantage.
And I see that advantage too, because when I were happening, think of all those roads, if we would have had that ability to have had them seal coated within the first 3 years, how much that money that would have saved us as we were trying to get caught up here, which we're not quite caught up yet, according to you on our pavement management plan as far as seal coating and crack sealing is concerned. We're getting there, but we're not caught up yet. So can we ask our engineer to put
Do you need a
together?
motion?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to move forward with asking the engineer to draft language with regards to the, how do you want to say this, the seal coat roads 3 years after installation, with the monies.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Any other discussion?
The engineer in concert with the town attorney.
Sure.
Sounds great.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Update on the tractor. You're up, Chris Marshall.
all right, so. The tractor came back fully fixed. It lasted a few thousand feet.
Oh my.
And it laid down here in the parking lot, and so. I called up Baraboo and said, this isn't working for me. The people that you have touching this thing at your St. Croix facility, I do not want them touching it anymore.
What-
You have another
What failed?
alternative. So the tractor is in Rice Lake,
What component failed?
The wheel again.
the left front
The thing that,
planetary hub assembly.
the thing that we just spent the last few weeks waiting.
The thing that we've been dealing with 5 different times.
At this point, I could have called Metalworks and had it fabbed for you.
So,
It's been new every time.
so you send it to Rice Lake. What do you know now?
So Rice Lake had said that they noticed that there might have been a couple pieces missing
Oh,
on the
geez.
assembly. And they're researching that and gonna put it together the right way.
What's the time frame?
I never put timeframes on, it's disappointing.
But they're gonna use all the pieces that come in the box this time.
Yeah, because so at the beginning of this, the story was the parts are made in Germany and put on a boat and whatever, and so I don't ever, it ain't on the Amazon shelf,
Okay,
so.
I have a quick question. What did we do before we had this tractor?
We had another one.
we have
We
another
had a
one.
bigger piece of,
So the John
An
Deere,
existing issue with that one, which led
the
to the
John,
purchase
well,
of
the
it.
John Deere tractor was 20 years old.
yeah,
And there were major things starting to rear their ugly heads
Yeah.
with it. And so we decided 5
it's
years ago, now,
updated,
5
yeah,
or 6 years ago, to trade it in.
yeah,
Yeah.
And we bought an international harvester
yeah.
Mhm.
because we were told that this is a good tractor and it meets our needs and it's the size we need.
Yeah.
And we had Diamond out in
Yeah.
Sioux Falls put
Yeah.
the boom on it,
Mhm.
and we bought the,
We did a
More-
great job putting it together, it's. The components are showing their
Use.
use, I guess, it's. Would I buy one again? No. Do I have paperwork for the cost of a green one? Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't brought it here yet.
not yet. And when we looked at this one originally, the John Deere was over $100,000 more than this one was. And the board made a decision at the time. That's a lot of money. Let's go this direction. Now, some of us grew up with red and some of us grew up with green, who are farmer kids. And so everyone has their own idea about this. Now he's back looking at green. But obviously, we're not buying anything this year. This budget's
I-
been set and we don't have that, but we'll be talking about this at budget time and see. By that time, we'll know about this one and see where we're at. You know,
Yeah,
the problem,
so the paperwork that I have. That we'll discuss further down the road is, there's a trade-in value on ours. And. So,
I'm amazed that this isn't under lemon law at this point.
well, you got to back up. First of all, the mower issue was not the tractor's not the tractor's problem.
No, true.
So, and Diamond took care of that.
Diamond
That was
stood behind
their
that.
installation problem.
Yeah.
So you can't blame that on this.
No,
This wheel thing is,
Well, so the
shouldn't
reason,
be this hard.
The-
Can I just say that? It shouldn't be this hard.
International recognizes it as their issue, they're dealing with all the compounding warranty costs and the non-stock of these parts that are breaking. So,
Want to give us a loaner?
well, that's a fun conversation, they don't have them things.
Oh, geez.
The
Well-
Baraboo don't, they
yeah,
build, you want one, you got 19 weeks to wait or something.
So I think it's something that we're gonna be talking at budget time here about what we're
Sure.
gonna do, but I just wanted you all to be aware. And we're gonna move on to up,
And my main thing that we'll talk further about at some point is that regardless of this hiccup, this is about the right year to trade.
yep,
yeah, not necessarily this year, but next year.
is where you have to start having
Whatever
the
you-
conversation.
Whatever you folks say, I'm just saying from a business
Yeah.
point of view.
I'm just saying that this year our budget doesn't handle it, but next year we could budget it in. All right, update on tree removal. I see we just got a bill from Willow, so you
Had
have
some removed on Valley.
Valley View, and I just had one removed. That Chris looked at on my road that I was already having one taken down in my yard, and we did that at the same time to save some money. So it's another ash tree. These ashes are just tipping over one after the other. Then this complaint on Jake breaking, I just wanted to put it on our agenda. We had someone who complained about Jake breaking through Holton, or through Burkhardt, I'm sorry, on County Road A. Bob Marty spent about 5 hours out there and talked to a lot of the residents who this person named in their letter. And no one was complaining about it except the person who wrote the letter. The Public Works Committee sent us a motion saying, denying us paying for these signs and having them put up on the county road, which is what we would have to pay for. And I put it on our agenda just because we need to either decide the same thing or incur all the costs on the signage. And we've not put Jake breaking up anywhere, and I really don't want to start now because they will come up everywhere asking for it. And that, did I say it right as far as Public Works is concerned? That's what they decided.
Yeah, the research that I did was on the Hudson side,
Yeah,
the sign that did say no Jake braking has a digital speed limit sign on it with solar. They
Yeah.
removed their sign and put that.
yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I think we can deny this request on our end, so we don't have to pay for these signs. Does anyone want to make that motion?
I make a motion to decline the complaint of the Jake braking in Burkhardt.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
alright,
Aye.
Opposed, and it passes. Update on County Road A and McCutcheon Roundabout project. This is becoming frightening state of affairs if we don't get this project going before September 1st. Because it is an 8-week project and we stopped having asphalt at October 15th in this area. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen. And neither does county, but they did recommend that we consider making River Road a Class B roadway, which is what they've done for the town of Hudson on Badlands. Badlands, as you're coming down 12, there's a great big sign out there that says Badlands Road is a Class B roadway. And what that does is it keeps all the semis off of it. If they go on it, they're subject to major fines. And so I know you've heard that same thing, and it's something that we should consider. We would have to purchase the signs from county and have them put on both ends of River Road.
so what would this accomplish?
It will keep the semis off of River Road trying to get around on this whole thing.
Oh, is this a temporary thing or is it just permanent?
Just temporary for the time that it's under
Okay.
construction. We don't have to do it. We can wait and see what happens.
Oh,
But,
I can guarantee.
Yeah.
but we know where this is going.
Yeah, I think it's studious of us to do it immediately.
I mean, they already use it.
Well, we should do it when we start
Correct.
construction.
Yeah, I mean, River Road's already used by semis.
Yes,
They-
and we can leave them on there until we get close to construction.
Well, let's order
But-
the signs.
Do we want to?
I'm sorry, Anton,
Do we want to
do we
leave
want?
them? Do we want to leave the semis on there until starting construction?
Well, I mean,
they've been using it for years. That's the
Yeah.
hard part. When they coming out of New Richmond and stuff, they'll
It,
cut down. and-
it's standard procedure to get trucks to come down to E here and
go back.
go around because we're all lazy and the River Road is the way over there.
And why they ended up doing Badlands is because 94's got a scale on it, and so does the new scale on Highway 12. So
Yep.
all the overweights were going down Badlands, which if you've been on Badlands, that would not be my first choice of the semi tractor trailer. So where do you all want to go? Because the county will have to order these signs. It won't get, that's not gonna get done in a week, so.
I make a motion to approve ordering signs, Class B roadway signs for River Road.
Is there a second?
I second.
Do you want to add to that when you want these put on just for the construction, or do you want them on permanently?
Let's do it ASAP. We can decide when to take them off. Let's put them out.
Sure.
Right away.
Yeah. Installed, when signs are received.
Okay. You want to second that?
Still second that.
All those in favor say aye?
Sorry, real quick,
Okay.
you didn't state if you want them to stay up. Is this supposed to be a permanent thing or?
We can decide that later.
Later, yeah.
Yeah, I agree on the later part.
Okay,
Okay. All those in favor say aye?
I,
Opposed, it passes. I will contact county this week. Oh, they don't work tomorrow. I'll call them on Monday and get them ordered. Cause they'll order and install. No parking signs. The fun of it all. Let me start with Perch Lake Road. I thought we had an agreement with St. Croix County, but they called me back 2 weeks ago to tell me that Jason had the park superintendent on the phone with him, who said, I don't believe anybody who's parking on Perch Lake Road is accessing this county park.
Say that again?
They didn't believe that anybody parking on Perch Lake Road is accessing the county park.
They might be right on technicality.
I said, I understood. I talked to someone who walked in. And he goes, no, I don't think that's happening. So their position is that they're not accessing the county park and they're only parking on the road to get to our roadway. Why should they have to pay? And Dan,
our witness, what do you see
Yeah.
out there?
what do you say?
Well, people who park on Perch Lake Road are accessing Perch Lake.
Okay,
I mean,
but
they're
he's
not
saying,
parking on the road to use the park, to use the road. They're using to go to the lake.
yes,
And the park is 50% of the lake.
well, and they're installing a new parking lot in the park.
Yeah.
For 25 vehicles, I think it is. And I'm like, that's not enough.
No. The
I also-
residents of Perch Lake Road would participate in the purchasing of the signs.
Have you gotten all their signatures?
What's that?
Have you gotten all their
I have
signatures on
at
that?
least, I have at least 10 people that are willing to pay.
Well, I'm in then, but
I mean,
the
let's
other
just
thing,
do it.
the other thing that we stated that you might want to talk to any of your people that you know on the county board is that Jason had brought up to the county board in the past that they should be charging non-residents more than residents to access any of the county parks. And what you don't know is anybody from out of state can get in there for the same price as you and I. And I said, are you kidding me? My tax dollars are paying for all that? So I asked Lee to weigh in on no parking signs. And I did pull the WisDOT information that talked about no parking signs should either have an arrow on them. And 300 feet, it says later you do either a double arrow and keep doing that down the roadway. Or you'd go from here to there, whatever there may be. then you can also add tow-away signs to the bottom of them so that people know if they park, they're gonna get towed. You can weigh in on what I just said.
That's all correct. I think, when I talked to our traffic engineer, one of the other options and maybe this isn't, shown in the WisDOT manual, but this is kind of more of a general practice, I suppose, is, having signs that say, no parking begins here.
Yep.
And then every 300 feet, a P with a slash through it until you get to the end where you say no parking ends here. So you have a beginning and an ending sign versus arrows. Typically, we see arrows more on a smaller stretch. If you're trying, like, for example, on Perch Lake Road, if you don't want people to park in front of where the stairs come down from the little parking lot,
Yeah,
you'd have, 40, 50, however many feet, and the arrow, to me, works better in that type of situation. But either way can work.
okay,
I just think the no parking begins here, and then however, quarter mile down the road or whatever it is, no parking ends here, and then every 300 feet, depending on sight lines, it might need to be closer. But at least every 300 feet, having a reminder of parking, and certainly if the town is committed to towing, then you certainly would be able to put a towing
yeah, they have these little tow-away,
towaway, yep.
those little tow-away pictures
Mhm.
is what they recommend, or the tow-away zone, whatever you want to do, either one. So
What about a
have,
sign? This was suggested by one of the residents. That at each end of the road, one at County Road E and at 60th Street, having a sign saying that there is no parking on Perch Lake Road from County Road V to 60th, and have the reverse on the other side. And not like entering that section, and then just have no parking with slashes the whole way.
Yep, that's another way to do it. I mean, that's basically the same. The same, except you're making it the entire road. It's not just part of it.
Yeah, it's delineating it
The
up
whole
front
road.
for everybody, anybody entering that section of the road.
Could do that.
what does everybody want to do? Because then our second thing is, Nelson Farm Road. So Nelson Farm Road yesterday had 55 cars on it. On both sides of the road. You think I can find my video? It would be so easy, but do I have it?
Was
Just
it-
a minute.
Was that for bicycles?
Some were bikes, some are just entering the park without having to pay for it.
Was there an event going on? Cause I know I've seen events happening there, whether it's a fundraiser for Wiki Mountain Bike Club is the club that generally uses that trailhead. And so I don't know, they hold fundraising events in that trailhead. So was there a particular event going on?
Not that I know of.
That's
I've had multiple
two different
complaints on
sides
this.
of it.
I've had multiple,
Going down
There.
but why I cannot find my video, I don't get.
anyways,
You sent
It
that?
was on here.
citizens that live on the road.
Oh,
So the residents are asking us to do something. They said this just cannot keep going. We have got to do something. So I'm bringing that forward to you.
So
because-
yeah, I've gotten a few homeowners that are on that road. Sending me stuff, it completely makes sense. And not even just from the parking standpoint, he was discussing how. Little kids are jetting out between cars, they're leaving car doors open, they're setting down. Car seats and bassinets on the roadway while they're getting their families' affairs in order and. Different stuff like that, so that was my. Quick response was no parking signs. And last night or Tuesday at Public Works. I
There you go.
volunteered to.
Watch this as he goes over the hill. And here's
what will it
begins.
cost to put up signs? What does it cost to put up a bunch of
Cost
signs
you about 100, 120 for post, labor and sign.
for each individual
About
sign?
100, about 100.
Yeah, so
What's in the budget?
I'm saying we got to do something here because the
Yeah.
residents are They said 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I got a picture, you couldn't even drive through there.
Is there any
You're looking at
ongoing communication with Wisconsin DNR or Willow River
So-
State Park? Because there's as you were passing it, when you're coming down, you come down that hill and it kind of planes out there for a second.
Yeah.
There was a truck parked up there. There's a great spot for another parking lot. It's already flat.
Yeah.
It's already, there's already a little bit of a driveway in there.
People use it all the time. for
Yeah.
like parking.
And so
Yeah.
has there been any discussion of, cause what I think is gonna happen is it's air in a balloon, right? We're just gonna squeeze the balloon. The air is gonna go someplace else. People are, if you build it, they will come. They have been building bike trails there
Right,
like crazy, and they will continue to do it because the Wisconsin DNR has told state park superintendents, build more bike trails.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, but
happening.
none of these people went to the county park.
Parallel parking class.
no, they've,
County just said none of these people went to
that's
the
different,
park.
but that's
no,
different.
this
This
is
is-
Delson Farm
this
Road,
is
this
Oh,
is
but
State
same
Farm.
problem.
So what I'm saying is, while yes, I think the no parking signs help, sure, it keeps people off these roads. I heard Teresa, hold on, talk about a culvert, but I think long term, this is where these people are gonna go. That they're just gonna park out on River Road. They're gonna hop on their bike down Nelson Farm. So now we're gonna no parking sign River Road. All right, where are they gonna go? You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but they're gonna put the
hold
bike.
on, just hold
bike
on. So it's gonna continue to happen. And so is there anything going on with the DNR that we can get more lots around there, expand the other lot?
So you get a trophy and it's being handled. I'm in communication with the DNR. I took it on myself Tuesday night at Public Works. That I'll be corresponding with Terry through email to the DNR. To get a site on Nelson Farm Road for a bigger parking lot. Or one off of River Road. And to
Truck.
get some answers from them.
Yeah.
We don't, we're
Right.
not putting it on trouble.
Well, a few years ago now, it feels like an eternity ago, there was an effort to put a new parking lot off of Trout Brook Road.
That's still in their plan.
There's a bootleg one there now, so it's already happening.
Well, that's them clearing it.
I just got the new, service area for Willow, because we're changing that to its own service area for us.
Mhm.
And that has its own address. That parking lot has its own.
Right.
address now.
And even though we advised them not to use Trout Brook Road, because
Well, they're not putting bikes on it. We said no bikes, absolutely no bikes. They're gonna put a trail up to River Road if they want bike trails.
didn't they ask us to put a bike path on River Road?
That's county.
Yes,
That's that.
yes. So what would stop county from just pushing it through?
Well, county's gonna do that, but when they get to Trout Brook, they have to go on state land. We told them no bikes on Trout Brook Road. No bike lanes, no bikes, period. They have to get off road. It's state park land, put them off the road.
But you're only gonna get more traffic then.
It's gonna happen. I mean, they're not backing away from that Trout Brook Road parking lot. As much as I don't like it.
Why don't we just buy one of those housing lots right there off of V and just make that a parking lot?
So you're gonna,
Charge.
you're
for
gonna
it.
have some discussion with them.
Yeah,
And-
so anyways, through your whole thought process, Tuesday, we
Okay,
established all those
Good.
thoughts
good.
and we'll.
But I still think we need to put some no parking signs up because
Well,
this video
we
doesn't
didn't
show.
steer away from that. We're doing that.
Okay, cause this,
I'm just. Concluding his whole thought process that, yeah, besides the right now cure of no parking,
Mhm.
yes, there'll be a discussion.
Yeah, good.
On if they have any thought on doing that.
cause I'm laying money, these people are accessing that state park with no sticker, that's why they're out on the road.
And that lot fills up very fast.
And it's not very big.
Correct. They need to offer more parking, is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
That's a big safety issue for us too.
Oh, yeah, you can't get through there.
People park on both sides of the road. How frequently go to the state park.
Yep.
Calls back to those residences. It's time.
Yeah, they need, all I'm saying is they need to come to the table on this growth issue because it's, like I said, it's not going anywhere. It's only gonna continue to happen. And so we can temporary fix it all we want, but it needs a
Right.
long-term solution.
So can we ask Lee to, you have the length on these roads, you have Nelson Farm Road, Nelson Farm Lane. And you have Perch Lake Road from 60th to County Road E. Can you come back to us with where you would prefer to see the signs installed and then I can get them ordered?
Sure.
Is everyone okay with that?
I didn't hear, what do you?
I said I would like Lee to come back because he's got the links of these roads. He knows
Yes.
what they look like, that he could tell us how many signs we need, because I'm a little uncomfortable with Perch Lake that we're only putting one at each end. Cause I feel like then they start to forget in between. You know what I'm saying? It's a long
Well, you're
stretch
still
of
gonna
road.
end up with signs in
Some
between.
in the middle.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything.
And on also, yeah.
Oh, now there's a new chat on there. How come I can't see my chat? Let me do it this way. Sorry.
So,
There you go. Yes, you should go to Nelson Farm Road if you want to get on the trails for mountain biking. I got that from the Willow Kinney Mountain Bike Club. Oh, yeah.
So I've been talking to them for the fire. unit
Yep.
That area, I've been talking to like the guy that's in charge.
is it Aaron? I'll talk to you later about your contacts.
Yeah, so I'm trying to talk to him and I'm trying to talk to the state park as well, because we've got some other issues that we gotta deal with the state park with.
Yeah,
Aaron's the state park guy.
Aaron
Yeah,
Mason.
One of the state park guys I have not.
okay.
That's my neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait, before we go on, we made a motion at last month's meeting to put no parking signs on Perch Lake Road from 60th to V,
Right,
okay?
yeah.
But we don't have a motion here for Nelson.
Right, we're gonna have to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who wants to make that motion? I want to do Nelson Farm Road and Lane,
Okay,
because the lane is down. Once you take the road away, they're gonna go that way,
yeah.
From River Road end to end.
end to end,
I'll
Wait, you
make a
said River
motion.
Road? You
Um,
said River Road.
River Road.
from,
Oh, From River
Yeah.
Road.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion that the town post no parking signs on Nelson Farm Road and Nelson Farm Lane, starting at River Road end to end. On
Second.
both sides of the road.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and you can come back with a little plan for us.
Yes, what time frame would you like that in?
How fast can you get it done?
A
Couple weeks? Week and a
We'll
half,
see
2
if we can
weeks?
get it in a week.
Okay.
We'll try to do it in a week.
All right.
Are you going on vacation?
The person who'll be doing it
We
won't
did
be.
Okay,
Yes.
anything else on that? Anything else that we have to have for Lee? I think Lee, we're probably done with you, aren't we? Yes, I believe we are.
Right?
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. I
Yeah.
did want you to stay for this.
Yes.
Okay. Parks, Trails and Rec, I don't have anybody on the
Yep,
line.
yes, you do.
Oh, you do.
I was at the
Oh,
Parks Trails
that's
and I have
right.
everything for A, B, C, and D, so I'll go through them right now.
Go ahead.
Okay, so update on the playground, the rain garden is completed and they'll continue to monitor the flow of water. Plants still need to be matured. Todd's bill was $825. For the bike racks, Janet found out that the free bike racks are no longer available, so the town should move forward with whatever plans they have for the bike racks at the new town hall. For the fall festival, the time will be from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon. And she's working with Zach on signs for that. And the event will be pared down and any residents who would like to set up a booth can contact Pat Tuma. Nothing new is happening with mowing of the trails at the town park because of construction at the present time.
Well, I've had complaints.
Pardon?
I've had complaints from them leaving the playground and going towards the White Eagle Road.
Okay,
And as they make that turn into those trees, they say it's almost impassable.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, they're complaining because they're getting all banged up from the buckthorn and stuff, and they're going, why can't this trail be at least open enough for two people to pass on? So that's why it's on my agenda, is I had some people complain to me about it.
Okay. Let's see, where is it? She had a weeding in the flower beds around the signs in the front door out here,
Yes.
but that hasn't taken place for a long time.
Well, because the ladies that did it were with the garden club and now
Yep.
they've aged out and are not able to do it.
So.
So
they
the
just-
question is does Parks Trails want to take this on? Or do we need to find someone to do it?
Well, their reply was, we can reach out to them to see if they're going to, or they're gonna do it themselves.
So they'll let us know what direction they're gonna
Yep.
take, because the ladies that were doing it are not gonna do it.
Yeah, okay.
They've reached
I'll,
an
I'll let
age.
them know that
which
if
is-
they get to do it
yeah.
themselves, lucky girls.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else that anyone wants to ask him on any of this? Thank you. Plan Commission, junkyards and other chronic nuisances and enforcement issues. Do we have anything we need to speak to?
Not.
Did
in
you
the-
want to speak to some?
Not an open
Go, you
session.
can come up to the microphone here.
Michael, Michelle,
Yeah,
445 Elaine Hill Street. Counselor, do you by chance have a copy of the summons and things? And
No, I don't.
do you know where it's been sent?
I don't.
Because I'll come over to your office and pick it up and accept service in person. If you'd like.
Yeah, we can email it to you if you'd like.
Oh, we're perfect. That saves cover the township us money. I'm not. On lawsuits, I work with township or with. Believe it or not.
is that microphone on?
No.
I don't think so.
Now you can. Okay, go ahead.
Today the township did sue me. Literally saved my house by filing this. I thank you. I don't want to take the time to explain how that occurred. But I will answer this complaint. I will be pro se. Original attorney Mike Patton is not going to touch this. Is all the involvement with the county. If do you have a current email address for me?
No, I'd be happy to take it.
Sure, and it's really easy. It's FICO, FICO 400 at yahoo.com. And give you a good phone number. Just call it.
Great.
Area code 915. I gotta write down because I'm not calling so 667-8337. No, the best I can get this to the bankruptcy attorneys in Madison. Matter of fact, I'll probably take a copy of that and drive it to. They, when the agent was waiting for this. Oh, I got, oh, your tractor, it's got a bit of frame, that developer will not do unless you're. I've been trying to buy those lots for 2 years. No, on your tractor, I put that, I put 4 years, all you got is that. So every time they put new parts in, they find up. Boom. You put 100 and still keep it. I could fix it in about 2 hours, I'm not gonna touch it because we're. So anyway, any questions, Attorney? I will be pro se on this. I originally had my patent lined up and he. So. Anyway, I am gonna request a judicial transfer. It's Judge Northstream, going on 5 o'clock. He did the case with county, he building plan. The number is available 24/7. I'll work with.
That's good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other enforcement issues that anyone knows about that wants to bring up? Has anyone seen any activity over on the 60th property?
No,
Because there's some issues going on around us about that. So I'm hoping that they,
60th property.
that's the vaping manufacturer. So it's been quite interesting. I'll go into more of that later. We need to change our public hearing on chapter 170 to September 12th. We had scheduled it for tonight, but it didn't work for purposes of notice. So I'll just make a motion to change the night for the public hearing for chapter 170 to September 12th at 7 o'clock, which is our next meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. We're not ready with the temporary structure ordinance, but we do have the election conduct ordinance in front of you. This was sent to us by you, right?
It was.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this ordinance originally came through the city of Hudson. There was concern just with respect to their code. That they didn't have anything specific in their code of ordinances that protected election officials. And so this ordinance was modeled after another ordinance from a community in central Wisconsin. I think it's fairly effective in terms of utilizing and drawing in the definitions from the statute on election officials. The goal here ultimately is to ensure that the public is not in contact with election officials before, during, or after elections, but certainly during the conducting and facilitating of elections. And so it makes it a municipal violation, municipal code violation, if in fact there is threatening or harassing conduct directed toward election officials. So this does not relate to poll watchers. This relates to it relates to town officials who are facilitating and conducting the election.
And I will tell the board that we've had our election workers threatened at an election, which has been difficult. At times, they've been able to calm it down, but there was one 2 years ago that he left here in a huff and said, I'll be back and I will take care of all of you, after he had threatened her with bodily harm. I personally had to call a sheriff on a person a year ago in the town of Hudson who tried to drop off a ballot, absentee ballot that did not belong to him. And under state law, I can't take that from him. It has to be the person whose ballot it is. He tried, now, the size of the window is about the size of the window there at Terry's desk. He literally tried to come through it and tried to reach for me. The other clerk that was in the office actually backed up, and I backed up and I said no. And he started screaming a fit and threatening me with bodily harm. And the minute he had dropped off his ballot, he wanted to drop off this one. I had his in my hand when I dialed 911 and called the sheriff on him, who said, do you know where he lives in his name? And I went, well, here's his ballot envelope. It's got all the information on it. And he goes, you gotta be kidding me. So he went over and spoke to him. The thing about it is this gentleman was a little bit combative with him, and the sheriff just looked him straight in the eye and he said, you keep it up. He said, you're going in the car and we're headed, to Hudson, because this is not going to continue. And he backed away, but we watch for him all the time, because how can you trust them?
Yeah.
And this is not for just a disagreement on election day, or when someone says, I don't like the fact I have to stand in line, or, in April, you get people who go, why don't they say, Republican or Democrat, It's none of that you can have a discussion with someone who may not agree with you, but just kind of gets huffy and walks away. This is people who really are serious about threatening others, and it's difficult for election workers that aren't standing here every day.
It's rude, it's wrong, it's the human conduct, that's completely wrong.
Yep.
And then apparently they've never heard of the electoral college anyhow. Jesus.
So I have a question on paragraph E about penalty for violation.
Yes.
Well, how is it actually enforced though? I mean, where's the enforcement part of this? What happens if, do we take them to court, or what do we do? Or if something occurs?
Yeah, so if there is a violation, it's like a violation of any other provision of our code. A citation can be written. We have certain people in the town that have the authority to write citations, or we can certainly refer it out to the sheriff as well to investigate. And if there were a situation where somebody were unruly, as the chair had mentioned, a call to the sheriff's department would be generated. So it's either a locally issued ticket. This gives us the authority to do that, or it's a call to the sheriff to enforce.
So do we actually in that office have a pad of citation forms?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I never knew we did.
Yeah. They do.
We did.
We can deputize you if you'd like.
I can hand out parking citations.
Sure, we'll do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Lori,
no need for signs.
Lori, you're online. Did you want to say something?
Yes, if I could, Madam Chair. I do question just in general, although I just listened to what your explanation was. You're already able to call the sheriff, and I don't see where this gives the town any more teeth than what you already have. All you're doing is assuming some of the responsibilities that the sheriff's department would have. If they came there, they charged them with anything, their system and the court system would take care of it. Now you're going to try to assume some type of enforcement the day of the elections and try to carry through on them. Are you going to have a hired person stand there for the entire election for this purpose? I was a little unclear on, that piece of it. And where this ordinance, was it pulled from another municipality? It just, we don't have enforcement people. Let's say the Village of North Hudson, they have enforcement people, or another community, and we do not have that.
Well, let me respond to that. First of all, if I recall correctly, this came from Marshfield in central Wisconsin, so it did come from another community. Secondarily, this puts an emphasis on protecting town election officials. Okay, that's the emphasis. Right now, we don't have anything in our code of ordinances that is specific to the protection of town election officials. Third, we can call the sheriff right now. The sheriff doesn't have anything to enforce on our code. The sheriff could certainly issue a ticket for violation of state law if there's a disorderly conduct, or if there's something under state law that can be ticketed for. But this just gives us one more tool to protect our people in our community that are facilitating our elections. So this isn't a matter of the town board deciding that it's going to take any additional action, that it's going to create authority for itself. It gives us one more tool and emphasizes the fact that it's really important to protect the gals and guys that sign up to serve publicly to help us hold our elections.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I definitely supported it. Like Nick, I think you just hit on the point that I was going to make, is that the sheriff's office could come out, they could dictate, or they could use the discretion that's available to them as law enforcement, say there is not a crime that's been committed here, and they could walk away.
Yeah.
This gives us the authority to make that charge, I guess, to write that citation, like Nick indicated, if we feel that meets that threshold. So again, it's another tool for us to use to ensure that folks are taken care of.
I know that other towns are implementing this once this got out. They're also doing the same thing because they feel strongly it's not just the day of the election that you have to worry about. It's the 20 days prior where things get really dicey at times. And I think, August through next week is a calm election because it's just a primary, but November's a different thing. And April and November are the two tough ones.
So if we approve this, we just need to schedule it for public hearing?
No, there's no public hearing on this.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so it can get approved tonight. I know Plan Commission did take a look at it and approved that also last night, Anton, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Anyone want to make?
I'll make
this
a motion to approve the ordinance 2024-09, chapter 50, election conduct as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I'm gonna change that. It said conduct on our agenda, but I think, isn't this the true one? It just says elections? Or it does say election conduct? I have an old one.
You do it.
Okay, so it is right. All right.
Will you be excuse me?
I have an old copy with a different heading on it. It is election conduct. So I will start with a roll call vote.
Aye.
Oh, you're not on.
Justin Cruz,
Aye.
Matt Moore,
Guy,
Dan Gavin,
All right.
Chris Marshall,
Yes.
Lisa Johnson.
Yes, and motion carried. Thank you, everybody. She will get this posted and it will become, once it's posted, it goes forward. So Technology Committee, the Technology Committee met last month. And they have made a motion to switch from Google Drive to Synology. For a couple of reasons. It will cost us a lot less money. Anton, you were there. Maybe you can speak to it better than I can.
Yeah, so basically, we have a Synology server. Synology is the name of a company. We have a server that is currently used for primarily for backing up systems in the town hall. It also has the ability to share out information on it in a similar way that Google does, providing editing, viewing of documents, generally organizing them in a similar way to what Google Drive does. It can be tied in to the town's existing email and so forth for authentication. It can also support separate accounts. So we could use that for commission members, for instance, that need access. The Synology server that we have does not incur any additional fees beyond what we've already paid for. There's no monthly recurring fees versus the Google system that has a moderate, not large, I don't know the number off the top of my head, recurring fee per month for the accounts that we have there. So the technology committee experimented for a few months with using it as a substitute for the Google Drive that committee documents were on, and found that it worked well, and recommended that the town board should switch, and it will be a process. It's not a one-time turn things off at Google and turn things on here. That we should bring in a SunnyLink to consult with moving what we have on Google Drive over to the Synology, configuring the Synology for the appropriate sharing and permissions. And once all of that's done, we can stop paying Google and use the system that we've already purchased in-house, hosting our data in-house, backing it up ourselves, and save some money for the town.
Thank you. So the motion was to not exceed $2,000 for the purpose of replacing Google Drive with Synology. Does anyone have any questions for Anton on this? Because he can answer them better than I can.
And I'll say that $2,000 is the estimate that we got. It's a bit higher than the estimate that we got from SunnyLink for the amount that it would cost them to come in, do all of that configuration, do training.
Any questions for him? I will take a motion. Nobody wants to make the motion? I'll make
I'll make
Go
a
ahead.
motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the technology committee's recommendation to switch from Google Drive to Synology.
Is there a second? I'll do the second.
You'll do the second?
I did the second.
So I'm curious about the transition time or what it would take to do this. When is it, or what kind of timeline is going to be set up to make the transition?
It'll be up to Tim and the clerk because she's gonna have to work around getting out of this election and before she gets into the next one. So we'll see if it can get done before the end of the year, but I'm not gonna guarantee that.
Well, my question, are we trying to get it done before a certain period of time? That's what I'm driving at here.
You gotta turn yours on if you're gonna answer that, because I don't know what your answer is.
Or do we want to set a date for a transition time no earlier than January 1st, not allow us to get through the end of the year with our current storage system? I'm just,
The technology committee didn't set like a timeline for it.
But how do you feel about it?
I've already been working with it. I don't think it would be that hard to transition to it.
I just don't want to.
Is there any major I think what Dan's saying, is there any major things that we want to maybe avoid or kind of work around and make sure it's in place for, I guess, any sort of process?
There's always something major.
got the elections
New
coming up.
building.
Yeah.
I would like to get it done before then, since I think it would work better.
Mhm.
But we're still probably thinking about the same timeline. It's probably gonna be around January by the time we get it all
Mhm.
transferred over and done. Right, Anton? Don't you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, that would give us plenty of time.
Yeah.
We'd probably, if SunnyLink and Terry both have the time, we could probably do it in between the elections.
Yeah.
But that might be pushing it.
It's gonna really be on her timeline.
Exactly.
Are you going on vacation?
Well, you'd like to.
There's no time for vacation.
I just don't want the transition to impact anything regarding our budgets and our elections. I mean,
No.
there's
It
nothing
won't.
that's driving us. Why don't we just say that to not do the transition until after the 2024 elections and the budget year is complete? How does that sound?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay,
Second.
all right.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And you were aye because
Oh,
you
you
might,
want a reason as to
oh, you
why-
gotta tilt turn it back on. It is on.
You want a reason as to why I'm against this?
Yeah.
I think it's not a great idea to expose our network externally. Because basically what you're doing is you're hosting a drive on your server and then having external people
Yep.
plug into it instead of leaving what you want up in the Google Drive, and then it's isolated where that communication is handled from our antivirus software here, and then Google can do whatever it needs, and we don't have a responsibility.
Anton, can you talk to that at all?
Yeah, the main thing I'd say is that our network to a certain extent is already exposed because of hosting our own email.
I've been very vocal against that as well, but I have not won either of
I'm
these.
glad you're consistent.
I am
Well, the
consistent.
good thing is that we didn't get hit by CloudStrike. That's a good thing.
Yeah, CrowdStrike didn't
Didn't
hit
get
us.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair concern, but Sunnylink has so far been doing a good job as far as we can tell on the technology committee of making sure that we have appropriate firewall and protection in place.
Sure, but you don't have your clients accessing this with VPN. You don't have any of that kind of
Right.
stuff set up. So I work in the insurance industry. I just worked through a customer who had a $30 million scheme that cleared them out of claims payments from old people
Oh,
using shifty emails,
yep.
pretending to be invoicers for certain things. Nope, I don't like having any of that stuff hosted locally if I can help it.
Well, we'll have a little bit of discussion with Tim on that as they move forward. Fire department plans to build out storage in the fire hall. Where are we on that?
So, Design Works we are on his radar.
Yep.
He's got a couple things to close out and then we're gonna meet.
Did you
And-
get the measurements from Bruce? That he was gonna send you, or do you want me to remind him?
I'm not involved in Bruce.
No, but Bruce took all the measurements over there. Did he he was gonna send them to you?
I didn't ask him to do that and I just wanted Mike to do it.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
When we meet with him, we'll go over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some other things that are kind of potentially changing it now as well, because of how we're trying to put our trucks within that area. We have the truck and trailer hooked together, and one of them might actually be in that spot, so. You have to look at that. We don't have enough room.
As the fire group is doing some thought processing, some stuff may
Okay.
change.
Yeah.
So
The biggest thing for us is that we started putting our trailer and brush truck together because of all the increase in state park calls, because we need it every time we go, and I don't want to have one of our firefighters trying to throw a trailer on the back of the truck really quick and getting that.
I guess that we'll expand this so everybody's aware of it. So as him and me sat and discussed things. And the serviceability and response time for those people. They were bringing up, or him as the chief, were, hey, we need these two units together. Which he pictured over in the exercise area. And we sat and kind of brainstormed, well, what if the exercise area was right behind this adjoining wall here? And we did a couple other different things which his people are involved in. That's kind of what we're.
Your brain, you're just kind of brainstorming.
Yeah, we're trying to
Brainstorm.
use all the parking spaces in the proper way that they should be used.
Yeah.
Well, because I think when we originally built that addition, we were expecting that 4 rigs would have their home there.
And there will be 4 rigs that
Yeah.
have their home there. T1 still has to go back to the back.
Yes,
But we also have the addition of a longer unit, which is a brush truck and a trailer now.
yes,
That has to be connected because, we're gonna run into an issue where someone.
Yeah, so you got your liabilities of hitching it, pinning
Yeah.
it, lighting. You know, though, and we all hook up trailers, and if you're in a mad rush. It intensifies your accident liability.
okay, well, come
So
back,
Yeah, we're trying to figure out a way to use it in the older bays, which may affect the way we build it. It's not gonna affect it. Like a lot, it's just gonna affect the way that the bulk.
right, okay,
Can I ask you?
Yeah, we're working.
Can I ask you a quick question about, as we were talking about space, when do you guys plan on having kind of a layout for this area?
This area.
Yeah, well, broken ground. We're hoping,
We are not changing anything,
not,
not right away.
Okay.
We originally talked about it and we're not changing anything. We're using this. We're going to be using this the way it is. We will probably be changes over the next couple of years. But our biggest changes are gonna happen there.
well, what I was thinking is, as you're looking at what's going on over there, is there anything that could be a lift and shift into this space?
well, all his offices are coming over, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that's mostly on the second floor, right?
Well, and I mean, even like some of the things that as we're sitting here tonight, I'm thinking like EMS supplies and all moving some equipment in here and stuff like that, or.
Yeah.
Moving our tables into the hallway there and creating a space for us to move some of the tables and chairs and stuff out of that space.
Sure.
There's definitely, and we've had some conversations with Chris and I about like trying to get all that stuff out of there so that we can just use that for truck.
Sure.
As a truck facing here, so.
But
Definitely this area.
But as I'm also thinking, right, I don't know that you're gonna need a row of paper filing cabinets that go underneath the kitchenette, right? But do you need something more like 2 of those and the other one can be a deep basin for a cabinet? Well, then we talk about cabinetry as we make a plan, right? So it's little things like that where, you know, as we're looking at what your needs are from a storage perspective, and you start taking out the chunks in here that we're taking with us, how does that fit? I mean, one of the things that I will pay for to nuke is getting that black box off the top of the wall there. Cause that drives me insane. So how,
From what I understand, there's only one that's staying, right?
that one is the one that will have to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
But not there. So, but it's things like that where if you're laying stuff out, do you need other expenses for planning out the room layout, things like that?
Yeah, we would like to actually put a kitchen back in, but I have to look into it and see what that means.
Entails,
Yeah,
okay, cause it might mean that you pull that out.
this won't be an assembly anymore necessarily. So
Yeah.
It may actually be something that we look into. I mean, all this stuff we're trying to deal with. That we just-
Sure.
We look at it a little bits of time and then.
Yep, that's why I just keep asking, cause it's one of those things where you can chip away at it instead of. I come to you a month before you need everything and then you're like, oh, we made bad decisions.
Yeah, storage was our biggest plan for the first part, the
Sure.
first phase. Fixing all the storage.
Sure. Thank you.
So on another side note, what was the resolution to the garage door that got damaged?
That one we were able to kind of clean up and you can't even see it.
But why did it happen?
So what we're figuring out is our people are doing, what they're doing is they're opening the door when they come in, like we've always done in the past, that they have a 3-minute timer. So what's happening is people are opening the door, they're coming in, getting their gear on, and they're going over to the truck. And as they leave, the garage door starts coming down. And then as it senses the photo eyes, it starts going up, but they hit it as it's trying to come up,
You didn't
because
miss
it has like a
anything.
4-second lag between going down and coming back up. And so people are hitting it in that time frame. So what we have developed is an SOP that states that our people cannot open the doors until they are in the truck, ready to go and ready to leave. Because that's that's what's causing, we almost had another issue like that.
Jeez,
It's the timers, people are
yeah.
opening the doors and forgetting that the timer, they're only a 3-minute timer, and so by the time they get their gear on, they're leaving and they're hitting the door.
Can you put a longer time frame on it too?
We can, the problem is that if we leave them open and exposed, it's just gonna be energy in the winter.
Right,
But 3 minutes is more than enough. I
Oh.
worked in a department, 30 seconds was standard, and we never did it.
okay,
So it's more of people are forgetting that the timers are there and they think that they're gonna be able to get out and the photo sensors are gonna.
keep it
So
up.
it's more just breaking a habit.
Yeah, magically push the
Yes.
doors up. Well, they take time to turn around.
Yes,
and people are hitting them.
Can you put a warning light or something that goes on when the door starts to close?
We talked about that the other day as well, as an option, putting a light, because there is a beeping.
Yeah.
On the closing.
but once they pass that and now they're getting hit in the
Well,
back end.
Yeah.
Roar of the truck and all that bullshit, you
Yeah.
ain't gonna hear no beeping.
Yeah, no, they won't hear the beeping. There's potentially a light thing. I'm hoping that, with this SOP of not moving until you're, not opening the door until you're.
Yes,
Get rid of that. I mean, truly, that's the issue.
okay. So it's just a question of education.
Yeah, it's everybody's used to what they used to do and. You know, that-
All the problems. Okay, anything else for him? Thank you for hanging out with us. On to operator licenses. Everyone look at those. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the operator licenses for Jeremy, Ryan, and Jamie Fidel.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it passes. And then I need to have a motion for transferring this money from ARPA funds for this pay request number 2. Who wants to make that?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of ARPA funds to pay request number 2 in the total of $86,424.35.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed, it passes. Public records.
I'm still on. I've had a few, nothing
Well, we've had those 2 big election ones.
Yeah.
But they didn't go anywhere.
right, correct. And I've had just a couple of standard requests, nothing too time consuming or expensive. That's it.
Anyone have any questions on those? And they just keep coming. So.
Nothing today.
What?
Okay.
So my next thing is budget workshops and the budget hearing. I put this on here because we have a November 5th election. And the following week is a little tight for the clerk to be able to turn that around. So we talked and she would prefer to have our special town board meeting and the meeting of the electors and the budget hearing on November 19th. But we also have finance meeting the end of October. So I put out here these budget workshops to be on September 17th, October 8th, and if we need it, October 24th. How does everyone feel about that? First of all, the budget workshops. I'm hoping we get by with 2. She and I have already started the budget for next year. But remember, we don't get a lot of those numbers until after the 1st of October for the income side. But at least we can get the expense side. She's also put a notice out to everybody that they need to get, the committees need to get their act together on this. And then are you okay with that budget hearing being on November 19th? It's still plenty early for the state and the county. And I know a lot of the townships and municipalities are moving to the 19th because of the issue with the November 5th election.
Mhm.
Anyone,
Make it work. Yep.
anyone have any problems with that? I'll make a motion to set our budget workshops for Tuesday, September 17th, Tuesday, October 8th, and possibly Thursday, October 24th. And to schedule the budget hearing, the special town meeting of the electors, and the special town board meeting for Tuesday, November 19th. Is there a second?
Second,
Any time indicated?
The budget hearing is usually at 7. The workshops I'll do at 6 o'clock, unless you decide you want them earlier.
Like 6.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. And then you have 2 town board minutes. Who would like to do those?
I make a motion to approve the town board minutes for July 11th and also July 23rd.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it passes. Invoices, checks and bank balances. First of all, I will make a motion to approve checks 25217 through 25263, including the e-pays to for the withholdings and the transfers. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it passes. You always receive this account listing for everybody. Right now, our checking account only has 39,000 in it, but she cannot transfer ARPA until we approve it. So that transfer will go into the checking account and get us up over 100,000, which is really where we like to be. Anything else on budget and bank balances? Anything want to have any questions or comments? All right, someone needs to make a motion to go into closed session and I gotta I'll hand some checks out.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under Wisconsin statute 19.85 parent G.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Dan Kevin,
Aye.
Chris Marshall,
Aye.
Matt Moore,
Aye.
Justin Cruz,
Aye.
Teresa Johnson.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carried, just give me just a quick second, so I can get that down. Hang on.
Don't forget to disconnect the Zoom call.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Should we start the recording?
I already started late, people, come on. So